It's Bhagavad Gita Overview, Chapter 7. We have to start from verse 13 onwards. Now, since we met after 2 weeks, we'll do a quick recap. So, the name of the Chapter 7 is Knowledge of the Absolute. Is it okay if I say it? Knowledge of the Absolute. Now here, does anyone remember what we did in Chapter 6? Ashtanga Yoga. That's right. It was years back, I know. Ashtanga Yoga, where Krishna, in the end of the chapter, towards the end of the chapter, after Arjun gives his synopsis of this Ashtanga Yoga, he says that the mind is more difficult to control than the raging wind. That was his analysis of the Ashtanga Yoga, and he said that for me it's a little unendurable, not little, it is impractical, it is unendurable. Right? So after this whole conclusion, Krishna still says that it is practice, and what is it? Practice and one more thing he said. Constant practice, and I think it was determination. Perseverance. These two things will help you to control your mind, since it's very important. And then what he did is a quick summary of all the chapters. Chapter 1 was, of course, Arjun's doubt. It's complete, setting the scene and everything. Chapter 2, we had Krishna giving the foundation, science of the soul. After Arjun surrendered to Krishna, accepted him as a guru, and became a disciple, humbling himself in front of the Lord, then the Lord starts giving him knowledge, starting with the root of Vedic knowledge. Or the first verse in Vedanta Sutra is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So now that you've taken a human birth, you have to realize that I am not this body and the soul. So that's a basic foundation of, that is what demarcates an animal and a human being. Right? Knowledge that I am not this body and the soul. After that he gave a little bit about Karma Yoga, which he elaborates in chapter 3. And then chapter 4 he gave us Jnana Yoga. How through knowledge we can, chapter 4 specifically, transcendental knowledge, he speaks about that how through knowledge we can specifically elevate ourselves. And then after he goes on and on for Buddhi Yoga, in chapter 5 Arjun expresses his doubt, saying that, now you've confused me. You talk about knowledge, and at the same time you talk about activity. These things are confusing for me. So Krishna says, if you have to gauge knowledge and activity, activity is definitely, action and knowledge is definitely better. So after the entire chapter 5, Krishna says in the end that how I am, you just have to realize this peace formula, that I am the Bhuktaram Yagya Tapasan, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, I am the benefactor, I am the enjoyer of all the sacrifices that you make, I am the best friend. Right? And then from chapter 6 onwards, Krishna starts the Ashtanga Yoga, the art of controlling our mind. The 8 steps we saw in Ashtanga Yoga, Ashta means 8, Anga means the limbs, the 8 limbs of this specific yoga. And then Krishna finally ends it, then he gives us a hierarchy, saying that Karma Yoga is the lowest. Better than a Karma Yoga is a fruitive worker, is what Krishna calls a Karma Yogi. And then is a Jnani, one who is aspiring for knowledge. Better than that is a Ashtanga Yogi, a person who is a meditator. And then in 6.47, the last verse of the 6th chapter, he says that out of all these 3, the best is a Bhakti Yogi. And then even from chapter 7, he gives us a hint right from the first verse itself, without even Arjun asking any questions about how to begin Bhakti Yoga. He starts speaking about how Bhakti Yoga begins. Right? The same formula was given by Prahlad Maharaj. I was talking about that shloka. I think it was there in verse number 1. The purpose Prabhupada has written and presented it. What was that? Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. Shravanam is hearing. So 7.1, Krishna tells Arjun, touch Renu, that you hear. Before you do anything in your life, you have to hear about it. That's some research something important you're going to take up in your life, you have to do some research. Right? So research for spirituality, or inquiring about our real self, inquiring about the soul, spiritual knowledge comes through hearing from authority. Either Krishna himself, as Arjun was so fortunate, or a bona fide representative of Krishna. That is then in Padma Puran. We have these 4 sampradayas and everything. We did in Journey of Self-Discovery. There is the Shri Sampradaya, the Brahma Sampradaya, there is Rudra Sampradaya, and there is Kumar Sampradaya. So these 4 disciplic successions are bona fide representatives of Krishna. Right? And then Krishna presents. How do you start? By Shravan. And then he gives us the benefits of this Shravan. He describes the knowledge that he is going to give to Krishna. Right? So 7.1, 2, 3, the translation I will read now. (7.1) The Supreme Personality of Godhead said. Can we read it together?
Yeah.
Start. Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So that touch to know is hearing. You have to hear from an authority, you have to hear from Krishna. And what will you know? How to practice this best form of yoga, how to practice this bhakti yoga. 7.1. Translation. 7.2. We'll start, Shalini. 7.2 will start. Start. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So this point of time I remember that how Prophet Muhammad, Jesus Christ and so many previous acharyas, they have come and they've given the knowledge about the Supreme Lord to the extent of their faith, to the extent of time, place and circumstance, Desh, Kala, Patra. According to these 3 particular reasons, they have given out how much ever they could. And they've told their disciples that there's so much more I want to tell you. And what is the problem?
You can't take
Faith. Yeah, the faith is very little. Or the receptacle, the bowl. Sometimes if you have a small bowl, you cannot accept a whole well. You need to have a big bowl, a big heart, which is empty, which is not already filled in with dust and dirt. Correct? So this entire bowl, this receptacle is like a faith. When a person has more faith, then they can be given everything. So here Krishna is very clearly saying that after giving you this knowledge, there's nothing more to be known. There's no incomplete knowledge here. This is complete knowledge. Phenomenal and luminous is spiritual and material. But both these worlds, I'll give you knowledge about that. And then 7.3, what does he describe? Together. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Now he's giving us the rarity of really understanding who Krishna is. With this we can actually appreciate the opportunity that we've at least come to picking up the Bhagavad Gita. Maybe understanding is some more time now. Right? Because that is so rare, Krishna says. Then from 7.4 to 12, Krishna gives another passage where he describes how he can be seen everywhere. Right. By hearing from spiritual sources, one acquires profound knowledge of the divine. Like how people generally say, can you show me God? Krishna showing Arjuna that even while sitting in this battlefield of Kurukshetra, or even while you are in the kitchen, or even while you are doing your household chores, taking care of your children, being in the office, how can you see Krishna everywhere? This is what Krishna teaches us between verses 7.4 to 7.12. How we can think of Him constantly. Can we read 7.4? Start. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. 1 second. Right. So here Krishna, what is he given? What is the material world all about? We find this material world so humongous. It's so amazing. When you see the stars in the sky, when you see the moon, when you see the sun, it's such an amazing creation. When you just look at this world, the flowers, the whole, even if you go for some vacation, you just imagine what sort of an intelligence would take to make such beautiful places. Right? And Krishna says, all of these are combination of just 8 elements. It's nothing but earth, water, fire, air, ether. That's 5 gross. 3 subtle is mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together these 8 constitute my separated material energy. So this is material, correct? Now he is describing the next is spiritual. 7.5, start.
Besides these,
O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine
which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
So here he is describing what are we supposed to do. We exploiting, we using this material world, right, and exploiting the resources available here. 7.6, start. All created beings have their sources in these 2 natures.
All that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, no more assertive that I am both the original and the resolution.
Correct. Here, so he says that he has described material, he has described spiritual. He clearly said that I am the origin and dissolution both. And here we think of that Mahavishnu who is lying down in that causal ocean. And what does he do? He breathes. He simply breathes. He is breathing and everything is manifested. When he breathes in, everything is dissolved. Right? Just like how Yashoda, when she looked into the tiny mouth of Krishna, how big can a 2-year-old child's mouth be? Even if they talk so much, but you still know that the mouth is just this size. And what did Yashoda see in it? The entire universe, the mountains, the galaxies, so many suns, so many moons, so many satellites, everything orbiting. And then she almost fainted. Right? So what happens here? Krishna is saying that I am the origin of everything and dissolution of everything. So material, spiritual, both are Krishna's separated energy. And then 7.7, he beautifully gives an analogy how to understand everything. 7.7, start. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Right? Can we see the thread in a necklace? No. But we know that it's held together just because of that underlying thread. So Krishna is the principle because of not only everything has begun and is going to end, but even everything is being maintained. Now how does he maintain us? It starts from 7.9 to 12. How does Krishna maintain us? Start. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, number 1. The light of the sun and the moon. The syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, and the sound in ether and ability in man. Just from the very root thing, very root thing is thirst. Thirst can be quenched by the taste of water. Yeah? Remember we were describing this, that immediately when you drink some other water, you can imagine that, BMC ka pani nahi hai. That this is, the water is, it's tasting different. And we think the water is tasteless. Krishna says, I am the taste of water, the principle of quenching thirst. That comes from the taste of original taste of water. So even that tiniest of the tiniest principle is being maintained by Krishna. Light of sun and moon, syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, and the sound in ether, and ability in man. That's so important. 7.9, start. Original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. Yeah? Again the tolerance, power. And then the very soul is being nurtured by the super soul, by Krishna. That is soul, life of all lives. I am heat in fire. The most important aspect of fire is the heat. So that is also Krishna. And original fragrance of earth. We were describing how different flowers are coming from the same soil, and apparently all of them have a different fragrance. So that is Krishna. 7.10, start. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences,
the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men.
Sorry. 7.9, 7.10. Original seed of all existences. Here Krishna is talking about the species, the 84 lakh species. We talk about evolution. From the amoeba, the highest human being, Homo sapiens, someone has come. Krishna is saying that they were simultaneously existing. Krishna is the original seed of all existences. The intelligence of the intelligent and prowess of all powerful men. 7.11 start. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas. He's referring to Arjun. He's saying that strength is usually in mode of goodness is applied when you have strength means you're superior. Right? When you have strength, that means you're superior to the others who don't have strength. And when others don't have strength, what is your responsibility? To protect. So that protection power is given by Krishna. So that is devoid of passion and desire. And sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. That means sex under marital relationships and for progeny. These two aspects. Krishna says that is what I am. 7.12. Last one, and we can start the next section. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. Right? So here, Krishna gives a little bit of hint. After this section is over, Arjuna has a doubt in his mind. He says that if it's so obvious, right from taste of water to ability in man, light of the sun and moon, if we can Krishna see, now that you hear all these things, it's so obvious to see Krishna's hands everywhere. And why can't people see? Why are there atheists? Why can't people think of God? Why is it becoming difficult for us to think of God? So here Krishna in 7.12 gives a hint for the next section. He says that there are people who are under the three modes of material nature. The three modes are goodness, passion, ignorance. Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun. Tamogun is ignorance, passion is Rajo, and Sattva is goodness. There are people who are bound, chained with these three things. Just like in a jail. There are different gradations of criminals. Those are some who are, they've not done things as bad, right? So they are in a A-class jail. Now, some who are potentially dangerous, so they are in the B-class jail. There are some who are an absolute outcast criminal. Even among the criminals, they are outcasts. And even if you put them with criminals, they start fighting. Right? So they are put in singular cells, these dungeons. Those are mode of ignorance. They have iron chains right from the feet to the hand. You've seen this, I've seen it in movies only, they have it in their neck also, and then their hands are tied, everything is tied. Absolutely no movement. So the microbes, the germs are like those. Absolute shackle. That's a body in mode of ignorance. And even, they have you have these caves, you've seen these caves, where there are so many bats. Generally they are in the ceiling of the cave. And you can't enter that cave because of the stench, because the bats, whatever they eat, immediately there is, so this whole floor of the caves is covered with the bat droppings. And so even if you enter, but even below that, there will be so many thousands and thousands of jivas living as microbes, as bacteria, which are thriving on that bat dropping. There's absolutely no sunlight. So can you imagine a human being, when they don't use their potential, they can fall down even to that level. There's no sunlight. There's absolutely, knowledge is like, it's very scary. I remember for the first time when I heard this from Mahabharata, I was so scared. I was like, my God, this is Andhakupam, a well which doesn't have a bottom. You can go even that degraded. So that ignorance. So Krishna is saying, because of these three things, what happens? I was describing the different types of criminals. How do they see? They just think that this prison is here. We are, passing our time here. Even when the king comes to the jail, just for a visit, and what happens? The other criminals think that he is part of the jail. He is bound by chains. He is bound by the walls. He is going to be bound by the rules. So Krishna says it's difficult for people in three modes of material nature to see me as I am. So here he is making it very clear before starting the next section. He says there are people who accept Krishna, there are people who reject Krishna. Right? That's the next section, 7.13 onwards. He says that the three modes are under my control. I am not within them. So Krishna is saying when he visits this material world, specifically in the Srimad Bhagavatam, every time Krishna, or in the Puranas also, every time Krishna descends, a particular word is given to him. You remember? Avatar. What does an avatar mean? Steven Spielberg movie. What's an avatar? One who descends. If you see that verse, we come to that verse now. 7 point. Which verse is it? Yada yada hi dharmasya. 7.8 I think it is.
7.14.
No, 7.14 or something.
No,
that's
in the 4th chapter.
Yeah, sorry, it's gone already. There he described, how does he descend? He's not born in karma. Now when we have done something, we have something pending to either get or give, that's why we take a birth again. And then Krishna, he doesn't have anything to get or give. He comes for specifically some agenda. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamiham. This word srijami is coming down from a higher realm to a lower realm. So Krishna is eternally living in the spiritual world, comes down to this material world for a trailer. Before the movie, they show a trailer. What is a trailer? Scenes from the original movie, clippings from the original movie, songs or actors from the original movie. Right? And what do? They attract our hearts to the spiritual world. Other than these two agendas of killing the miscreants and getting the dharma back on track, it's basically a trailer so that Krishna gives to attract these people back. And still people cannot see him because they think that this person is under the three modes of material nature. When Krishna dances in Ras Leela, oh, he's lusty. When Krishna marries 16,108 wives, and he has, in fact, somebody asked Prabhupada, he said, how can Krishna be God? He has 16,108 wives, how can he be God? Prabhupada said, because he has 60,108 wives, he is God. How many can you handle? He is handling 16,108 women at the same time. He is living with them in their individual palaces. He can expand into so many forms. That's what Narad Muni saw in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He went to each and every palaces in the Dwarka and he saw Krishna in each and every house. It's not like those sheikhs in Arab, they have so many wives and then they're so, desperate to even get one glimpse of their husband. Krishna is not like that. Sorry, sheikhs are in ignorance. So here Krishna, so when they see the activities of Krishna, they get more jealous. They get more envious. That's what happened to Duryodhana. When he saw the Virat Roop, immediately Bhishma surrendered. The others, they bowed down to it. Bhishma bowed down, Drona bowed down, Kripacharya bowed down. Dhritarashtra couldn't see, so it's like those microbes in them. They have absolutely no access. What happened to Duryodhana? He became more envious by seeing the opulence of Krishna. He said, oh, he's only a magician. So here this is because they are caught up in three modes and they cannot see Krishna everywhere because they think Krishna is a part of this material world. Right? So now we start the next section. Krishna describes who accepts him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for whom it is easy, 4 types of people for whom it is easy, 4 types of people for whom it's very difficult to accept him the way he is. Right? So we do our verses from 7.13 to 19 and then we come back. When you watch. So we read the translation for 7.12. We start 7.13. Please repeat. Tribir gunamair bhaver ebhi sarvam idam jagat मोहितं नाभिजानाति Mamebhya paramavyayam.
Mamebhya paramavyayam.
Together, translation, start. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Right? So here gives the reason why people cannot see him everywhere. 7.14 Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva ye prapadyante Maya metam taranti te. Translation. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. 7.15 Namam Vishkritano Mudha Prapadyante Naradhamaha Mayaya Parita Jnana Mayaya Parita Jnana Asuram Bhavamashritah. Start translation. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So those who reject Krishna. 7.16 are those who accept. It's easy for them to accept God. 7.16. Yeah. The Prabhupada writes a paragraph on each one of them. कौन से gradation में कौन आता है? All of them, all four of them, Prabhupada has described each one of them. It's a very nice purport. We'll see if we have time to read it. Beautiful. 7.16 Chaturvidha bhajante ma Jana sukritino Arjuna Artho jigyasur arthathi Jnani cha Bharatarshabha. Translation. O best among the Bharatas, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. You can wonder which category we fall. 7.17 Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate Priyo hi Jnani Notyartham Aham Sacha Mama Priyaha. Right? Translation.
One who is in full knowledge
And who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him, and he is very dear to me. So out of those four, Krishna says the last one, fourth person is most dear. 7.18, second last for this section. Udara sarve evaite Jnani tvatmaiva me matam Jnani tvatmaiva me matam Asthitah sahi yuktatma Mami vanuttamam gatim. Translation. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. Last 7.19. How long does that take? Bahunam janmanamante
Bahunam janmanamante
Jnanavan mam prapadyate
Jnanavan mam prapadyate
Vasudeva sarvam iti
Vasudeva sarvamiti
Samahatma sudurlabha.
Samahatma sudurlabha.
Translation. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be
the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul
is very rare. So after this section, Krishna thinks, why only surrender to you? What about the other personalities? So then Krishna starts the section about demigods. Other than surrendering to me, you can surrender even to the demigods. There are other subordinate controllers. There are other subordinate controllers who are controlling even important aspects of this material world. This element of earth, element of water, air, these are very powerful elements. There are personalities who control this entire element. Controlling the element of rain is Indra. It's got a very powerful position. If he simply stops the rain, what will happen? There will be droughts. Nothing will grow. Everyone will die. If Vayu simply stops, wind will not be able to breathe. Right? So there are powerful personalities. Arjun is asking, why not surrender to them? What's the harm in surrendering to those people? Or what happens to those people who surrender to the demigods? So 20 to 30 we have the section for demigods. What type of people surrender to demigods? What are the result of surrendering to demigods? Everything Krishna describes. So we start from 7.13 again. Dribir gunamair bhave Ebhi sarvam idam jagat Mohitam nabhijanati Mamebhyah paramavyayam. Together, translation start. Deluded by three modes, goodness, passion and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. So Krishna says that the entire world is enchanted because of these three modes of material nature. Every action that we perform, everything, in fact this whole world can be demarcated very clearly into three modes or a mixture of these three modes. Right? If you see a single day, the early hours of the morning, they're in mode of goodness. By the time it's afternoon, late afternoon, that's mode of passion. And evening is mode of ignorance, night. Activities that are done in night, the mode of ignorance sets in. Right? Even if you see sports, you clearly see something which is very sattvic, engaging the mind, like chess. All these activities are in mode of goodness. What is in mode of passion? Yeah, football, cricket, all these activities. Just lot of you can see the amount of passion even in the audience, even in the players, even in the people who are simply watching it on a TV set. You can see how passion engulfs a person. What is ignorance? Wrestling. It's just beating each other up. It's not even a sport. It's just degrading your mind and everything. Right? So that is mode of ignorance. If you take music, this music is a science. You have the particular notes, something which is very pleasing. In fact, if someone must have learned music, there are particular notes which is played at particular intervals of the day. It actually improves your health. So that music which is actually done according to a science, it's pleasing to the ears, is in mode of goodness. Flute, basically, sitars, veenas, lot of instruments from Indian and even the piano, that are all in mode of goodness. What about passion?
Drums.
Music which is very, it increases your heart palpitations and it's not good for the heart patient. All these things, they are very, even language which actually agitates a person passionately. So that is mode of
Passion.
Yeah, that's mode of passion. That is Rajogun. Tamogun, which is not even music at all. It's simply noise. And then a very obscene language. It's not even a proper, there's no meter, there's no tune to the song, it's simply agitating. Even in fact, you'll see that people who are into this music of mode of ignorance actually die of drug overdose, because their whole life is so negative and degrading and totally into depression. They can't come out of it also. So that is mode of ignorance. So if you see everything, even homes, if you go into people's homes, something which is very clean, a clean house where there's some amount of God consciousnness, the people live with some tolerance towards each other, that is a mode of goodness. When you enter a certain house, you'll always feel a vibe of anger, tension, that is mode of passion. You enter certain homes which are so dull, the curtains are always closed, there's no sunlight in the house. There's no sunlight in the house, even the beddings, they smell sometimes. The very damp. Basically, when there's no sunlight, the whole household goes damp, not clean. That's in mode of ignorance. So everything can go into these three modes. So Krishna is saying here that we see Krishna performing so many activities, and we try to judge. Oh, maybe this is in this mode. This is in this mode. But Krishna is all pure. He's above the modes. So Krishna says here in 7.13 that deluded by these three modes. Here Krishna is using the word guna. Guna sometimes means quality, sometimes means ropes. You understand what's a rope? You've seen a puppet which are tied with certain invisible ropes. Then there's a puppeteer. Sometimes these modes make us dance according to a particular tune. Right? If you see even Karna, he had a choice to either choose the Pandavas or choose the Kauravas. He had a very clear choice. And then even those modes, which mode you are in, you particularly dance to that tune, you get attracted to that association, to those activities. Right? So then that is what pulls you, that's what makes you dance. So the three modes, the whole world does not know me because of these three modes. And who am I? I am above the three modes. I am inexhaustible. Krishna says I am not limited because of these three modes. My activities are eternal. My activities are unlimited. Correct? So in the next verse, Krishna, now here he is revealed why people cannot see him everywhere. In the next verse, he describes a very nice thing. He says, now we might think, my God, we're so much bound by these ropes. How to get out of it? Right? This binding, this guna, I'll just write this word. 7.13, Krishna describes guna. Guna means quality, specifically mode. It also means rope. So these three modes we understand. Even Prabhupada always gives an example of the A class jail, the B class jail and the C class jail. The person who is into golden chains, into silver chains and iron chains. When does a person reach the category of iron chains? Or when does a person fall to the species of those microbes and germs? When does a person fall into such category? When is a person arrested in a dungeon? When his activities are such that is harming others around them and harming themselves to such a degree that they are degrading. When you're given ample opportunity, what happens? You can degrade yourself more. So they are arrested. What happens? So these jivas, they are arrested in such a body of ignorance so that they can't do more harm to themselves and to others. So here, mode of ignorance means a very tightly bound rope. Mode of passion means a little loose, and sattva guna there is more freedom to express. So how to get out of the clutches of ropes of Maya? That is 7.14. You read the verse once?
You can switch it off.
Don't
worry. It's the most happy thing.
We'll read the verse. Devi Hesha Gunamayi.
Devi Hesha Gunamayi.
Mama Maya Duratyaya.
Mama Maya Duratyaya.
Mame vaye prapadyante.
Mame vaye prapadyante.
Maya mitam tarantite.
Maya mitam tarantite.
Right. So here Krishna he's very emphatically saying that you can get out of these thick modes. there is this wonderful analogy with a story that there was this person, I think I've told you all before, who used to deliver these newspapers. When they go on a cycle, they just throw it on your doorstep. And one day it was an off and he was particularly in a leisure, so he saw that the gate of the mansion was open. He said, every day I'm rude, I just throw it out on the one. Today I'll just go and drop it nicely at the door and I'll come back. So then he goes inside, parks the cycle, goes inside, takes the the newspaper, the roll, and he puts it down. And the minute he turns back, what does he see? The dog. The dog is growling. He's thinking that this person is a thief because he's entered without any permission, without any assistance. So then he starts barking and growling and he attacks the boy. What does this boy do? He starts running. He starts running around the mansion. And the dog is just behind. What's happening? He's just totally petrified. And then he keeps running, and then suddenly there's a voice from the mansion which says, stop. So what happens to the dog? It immediately freezes. The dog is still mad angry. The dog is still growling and barking, but still doesn't move. Why? Because the master of that dog has asked to stop. It's because the master asked us to stop. It has stopped. Otherwise it was going to devour that boy. And then what happens? The master comes out and sets the boy free. So Krishna says here, Devi Yesha Guna Mai. This Devi is relating to Mama Maya Duratyaya. This Maya or this superintendent of the material world. He's specifically talking about Durga. Durga is Krishna's servant. She's working under his authority. What does she do? She uses these three modes of material nature to bind us. Specifically a person, what does a jailer do in the jail? Just see that everyone is being thoroughly punished and doesn't get out of the jail. That is the two functions of the jailer. Make sure they're inside, make sure that they're punished for what they have done. Right? So this is the specific job profile of Durga. She does it very well. She doesn't allow anyone to get out, and she makes sure everyone is getting their term. And when does she stop? Maam eva ye prapadyante maya metam taranti te. What is this word taranti? Overcome. It says you can overcome these ropes, you can overcome Maya when you prapadyante, when you surrender unto me. Krishna is emphatically saying, Mama, he's pointing, here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is a very great acharya. He writes that emphatically in the battlefield. Krishna points out to his chest. He says to me, if you surrender to me, you can immediately get free from this clutches of Maya, free from these binding ropes, free forever. Then the material world, then Maya stops troubling you. Then you simply have bliss of Krishna's surrender. Right? So here Krishna says, this divine energy of mine, Krishna says this Maya belongs to me. It consists of these three modes of material nature, these three ropes which are binding you, is difficult to overcome. If you try by yourself, it's extremely difficult to overcome. But, he says, those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. It's Maya metam taranti te. He says it's so easy. So does it take much? We feel that Maya is so difficult. There was a king who was telling this particular, his spiritual master, he was saying it's so difficult to give up Maya. It's so difficult to get rid. And he just went to a tree and he started hugging the tree and he started saying, leave me. Please leave me. What are we doing? We've held on to everything. We don't want to surrender, and then we feel that Maya is not leaving me. It's the other way around. We are not leaving Maya. Or at least we are not surrendering to Krishna. We've kept that little hitch. I want my little freedom. In fact, we have to understand the real freedom is out of the jail. In the jail, how much freedom can you have? At the most, you can run from one cell to the other. How much freedom do you have outside the jail? Unlimited freedom. When you live as a good citizen, we are free. Right? When we abide by the rules of Krishna, when we surrender to Krishna, we are free in the spiritual world. So Krishna says, There's a shloka given by Prabhupada. I don't know if you can. It's in the end of the first paragraph. Can you see? In the purport, at the end of the first paragraph, there's a very nice verse which Prabhupada writes from the Vedas. Mayam tu prakritim vidyan mayinam tu maheshwaram. Can you see? Although Maya is false or temporary, the background of Maya is the supreme magician, the personality of Godhead who is Maheshwar, the supreme controller. This is from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. When do we fall into darkness? When we turn away from the sun. Right? It's a choice. It's a conscious choice. We either look at the sun, can we experience darkness? When we turn away from the sun, we experience the shadow. So Krishna's shadow is Maya. When we look away from Krishna, we see Maya. Right? So here Prabhupada has written that, and Krishna says, three modes of material nature are the reason why people cannot see me everywhere. You can get rid of these three modes by surrendering unto me. It is that simple. And if it is that simple, why people are not accepting? Why are they still rejecting? So first Krishna gives 4 types of people who are rejecting, and then he gives 4 types of people who are accepting. So we'll quickly do a preview of these 4 kinds of people. I'll describe it later. We have to chant one small round. 7.15. Namam dishkritino mudha.
Namam dushkritino mudha.
Prapadyante naradhamaha.
Prapadyante naradhamaha.
Mayaya parita jnana.
Mayaya parita jnana.
Asuram bhavam ashritah.
Asuram bhavam
Ashritah. Sorry. Translation? Start.
Those creatures who are
Grossly foolish,
who are lowest amongst mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of the humans, do not surrender unto me.
4 kinds of people. Namam dushkritino. Dushkritino are miscreants, or people who do not surrender. The 4 kinds. One is mudha, foolish. And then there is naradhama, nara, adhama. Nara is human beings. Adhama is the most fallen or the most lowest of the mankind. Naradhama, naradhama. When you combine it becomes naradhama. And then there is third who is mayaya parita jnana. They have lot of knowledge, and their knowledge is stolen away by Maya. So it's jnana, they have lot of knowledge. Lot of knowledge is material knowledge, and that knowledge is stolen away by Maya. So Mayaya parita jnana, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, by Maya. And the last person is asuram bhavam ashritaha. That is someone who belongs to an atheistic nature. Such nature belongs to particularly to demons. Those who decry the existence of Krishna or decry the supremacy of Krishna. Specifically Hiranyakashipu and all these kinds of people. They were very knowledgeable. And they knew that Vishnu is he's a supreme person, but still they wanted to become the supreme person. They were decrying the authority of the Lord. So that is the 4 kinds of people. 4 kinds of 7.15 we are at. So the 4 types of people who do not surrender to Krishna are dushkritina. Now I am reading the purport, the first paragraph. I am reading the translation again. Those miscreants, number 1, who are grossly foolish. Number 2, who are lowest among mankind. Number 3, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion. Number 4, those who partake the atheistic nature of demons. These 4 types do not surrender unto me. The first paragraph I am reading, it is said in Bhagavad Gita that simply by surrendering oneself unto lotus feet of Supreme Personality Krishna, one can surmount the stringent laws of material nature. Where did Krishna mention this?
In
the previous verse, 7.14. Correct? At this point a question arises. How is it that educated philosophers, scientists, businessmen, administrators and all the leaders of ordinary men do not surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna? the all-powerful personality of Godhead. Mukti or liberation from laws of material nature is sought by the leaders of mankind in different ways and with great plans and perseverance for a great many years and births. But if that liberation is possible by simply surrendering unto the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, then why don't these intelligent and hard-working leaders adopt a simple method? It's quite a question to ask, is it? So Krishna is saying one can easily cross beyond it. Right? In the previous verse, he's making it seem so simple. Still people cannot answer. Next verse, next paragraph is the answer to the same question Prabhupada asks. He says the Gita answers this question very frankly. Those really learned leaders of society like Brahma, Shiva, Kapila, Kumaras, Manu, Vyas, Devala, Asita, Janaka, Prahlad, Bali, and later on Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Sri Chaitanya and many others who are faithful philosophers, politicians, educators, scientists, etc. So previously he was talking about the unfaithful ones. Yeah? So here he is talking about the faithful ones. Surrender to that lotus feet of Supreme Person, the all-powerful authority. Those who are not actually philosophers, scientists, educators, administrators, etc., but who pose themselves as such for material gain, do not accept the plan or path of the Supreme Lord. Now when we wonder why the leaders of the society in Kali Yuga cannot accept Krishna, because it's very difficult for them to see Krishna as controllers. They want to be the controllers. Right? So it's very difficult for them to see Krishna as controller. Controller, enjoyer. When we try to understand that whatever we are doing, whatever endeavor we are doing, Krishna is going to enjoy it. Do we feel it? I am doing the endeavor, why is Krishna enjoying it? Right? That enviousness automatically erupts in the heart. So here Prabhupada is writing, those who are actual leaders, Brahma, Shiva, all these are our great forefathers. They are the ones who actually understand the philosophy very well, and they surrender to Krishna. The others who have an ulterior motive, for them it's very difficult to understand and surrender to Krishna, because of that ulterior motive is like a wall between them and their surrender to Krishna. For the others, Prabhupada gave so many names. He gave Brahma, Shiva, Kapila, Asita, Devala. They did not have an ulterior motive. They genuinely wanted the benefit of the other souls, so that they go back to Godhead. They saw what is their ultimate, benefit. What can help a jiva the most is their connection to Krishna. Whereas the other person who simply wants to exploit us, it's very difficult to understand Krishna. Right? So here I'll stop and we'll chant one small round. Prabhuji will come in another 6 minutes. So, by the time we'll actually start, it will be like 4 minutes. Pass it behind. I think there's prasad on the last bench. Is that prasad? Maybe both are for now. Maybe this is probably. Sorry, I just asked.
There are two chats. There are two chats. So the one which then I saw in the I asked her, is the class there today?
Yeah.
So then I saw in the other.
I'll do that.
So then one
the chat. I will start the second chat.
After I asked you, then I saw in that
Very
second
good.
chat all the answers.
Machi, is there prasad today?
How do you get to?
Oh, okay. She took it. Achal had to leave. She took the prasad. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Very good. Thank you.
No, who's the executor?
Let me try delete
did it?
It is into 3 groups are called. There are 3 chats. I want to delete because you don't know which chat is on. But I think only the
I was
person who
following
begins
only
the
one,
group.
so I didn't
Done.
know she had sent it. It's done?
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।